Hi, I'm David, and I'm going to talk to you about beginning your yoga practice. So let's go ahead and dive in. When you are beginning a yoga practice, you're going to want to first find a practice that suits you. If you're in America or North America, you're probably going to be familiarized with what you've seen on TV or commercials, what you've seen maybe in a magazine, or what some of your friends have done. In a lot of instances, this is going to be your Vinyasa classes, which are your more active classes. You're moving on every breath. You take an inhale, movement, exhale, movement, inhale, movement, exhale, movement. These are your Vinyasa classes. They're a little bit more tasking. It's best to know the postures when you're going into those courses. If you've seen other things like, say you've seen tree pose where you stand like a tree, or warriors, you take your arms up and you hold, breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. And you're holding these for anywhere from 5 to 30 seconds to sometimes 2.5 minutes. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Next position. Breath in, breath out. You see, with those, that's what we are going to call our Hatha yoga. It's a little bit less engaging than Vinyasa usually, even though you can take a level 2 Hatha, level 3 Hatha, and it can rival or be much more intimidating and physical than level 1 Vinyasa in a lot of ways. But typically, Vinyasa is going to be at the top of the difficulty pyramid, and Hatha is going to fall under it when we're considering beginning yoga positions. The next, we're going to talk about yin. Yin yoga is going to be very static. You're going to be in these positions for 3 to 5, really 5 to 8 minutes, and you're going to breathe. You're going to breathe into these regions, and you're going to kind of get yourself in position and hold these postures for quite some time. When you're holding these postures and you're doing this style of yoga, you're going to create something called hyaluronic acid, and that's going to lubricate your joints, your bones, your ligaments, and also supply fresh blood and oxygen to the areas of your body that are hard to reach. Finally, probably the easiest style you're probably going to do in America is restorative yoga. And restorative yoga is going to be pretty helpful and impactful for you in a sense that you're going to go limp into the postures, you're going to breathe, and as you exhale, you're just going to let the postures hold you up, and you're going to hold these positions anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. So imagine you're laying on a bed, opening up your body into posture, and you breathe. You're going to hold these positions about 5 to 8 minutes apiece, sometimes 5 to 10, even up to 30 minutes or longer. And you just breathe. Restorative yoga is actually so passive that you can pretty much do any position without warming up for it. It's one of the only styles of yoga you can get away with that. That said, still, even with restorative styles of yoga, spinal twist and pigeon, advanced positions of restorative, I would still like to be warmed up at least a good 25, 35. Really, the sweet spot for me is 40, 45 minutes before I go into some of the most challenging positions of yoga. So as a beginner, let's recap. You're going to have your Vinyasa, which is going to be the hottest. Your Hatha, it's going to be a little under it. Your Yin, which is going to be more static and cool. And your Restorative, which on a hot scale is going to be more of the coldest, close to something called a Yoga Nidra, which is like a sleep-like state. Where you're in these postures, you're almost going to sleep, you're doing this restorative yoga, and you might even be snoring. If someone were to call you, you're aware enough to say, yes, I'm here, but you're unaware of how much you're in a dreamlike state. That we consider Yoga Nidra, which is a really great style as well. So you're going to want to choose which style works for you. You can pair up certain things. We have something called the sun salutations. The sun salutations are a nice vinyasa sequence where you're going to move on an inhale, arms are going to come up, exhale, forward fold, inhale, look up for flat back, exhale, chaturanga, where you're going to do your upward facing dog, and then your downward facing dog. And you've probably seen some of those positions before. Sun salutations, I like to pair. Sometimes I pair it with yin before yin. Sometimes I pair it with hatha yoga. And a lot of times I pair it with vinyasa. So you're really going to want to figure out what works for you. And if you need help, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to other yoga instructors. You can look online. There's a lot of great information out there. So this is an opportunity where you can please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And in the comments, talk about what you might like to see. So moving forward, as a beginner, you're going to want to find a style that works for you. If you're an athlete and you're relatively fit, you know a little bit about yoga, you might jump into a Hatha class, learn the postures a little bit more, and go right into a Vinyasa class. Now, when you go into a Vinyasa class, you want to keep in mind that it's going to be moving at a pretty quick pace. So that's why I say, even if you're an athlete, you might want to take a couple Hatha classes to get familiarized with the moves. To even more so familiarize yourself with the moves, maybe restorative and yin. That will give you far more time, but eventually you'll probably jump into a Hatha. A Hatha class is going to be great for balancing the hot and the cold. Igna Pigna is going to balance your hot and cold and your hormones, and it's a beautiful synergy that really helps you just be the most complete set of you. So I really recommend Hatha for any sort of mental warfare going on, physical warfare, if you're feeling sick, if you need to regroup, if you're just feeling off, Hatha would probably be one of the better versions of yoga for you. Vinyasa, definitely, because it's so hot, it's engaging, it's heating up the endocrine system. I would recommend Vinyasa if you really want to get a workout in, if you want to get some of your cardio in, if you want to get some of your power yoga in, you're doing some of these plank positions and you're doing a lot of physical body weight movements, I would definitely recommend Vinyasa and let that be a lot of your workout for you right there. What if you're recovering from injury, or you want to work on range of motion, or you want to prep your body for a workout, prep yourself to be productive, loose, limber, and also warmed up safely to do the workouts you want to do? Then I would recommend something like yin yoga. Yin yoga is going to be fantastic for that. It's going to really set you up not only to feel good, to create that hyaluronic acid, but also set you up so when you do your next activity, you can benefit from all of that extra help from the yin. Um, what if you need to recover? By far, restorative yoga. In my experience, restorative yoga has been tremendously helpful for me. It has gotten me through so many tasks I can't even explain it all. I remember teaching a restorative course where I was doing the movements with the class, which is not something I always do. Keep in mind, if I'm teaching 40 classes a week, something I've done many times in my career, you don't want to always do Vinyasa classes with your students or you'll burn out. It's just too much. That said, I remember doing a one-on-one restorative. I took a test for my master's program, didn't even study for the test. I was thinking I was going to fail the test, and lo and behold, my brain was operating at such a smooth level. I almost felt like I was cheating. I felt like I knew the answers hidden within the wording of the question, the phrasing. I was operating at probably one of the most complete levels just from doing that restorative session and diving right into my day. So I highly recommend restorative to repair and recover. There's been times where I was doing my own restorative yoga, and I was doing Olympic workouts, I was doing P90X and Insanity. I was kind of mix and matching them. And because I was doing restorative yoga, it was kicking out my soreness. In fact, I was recovering so quickly, my friends thought I was on steroids because my results were so brilliant. I was getting results in 3 weeks that you would see maybe in 2, 3 months. So I really highly recommend restorative, whatever your task is, whether you are an athlete and you need to recover from a grueling session or game, or you're a prisoner and you have a grueling life in prison, you're homeless and you're living on the streets. Anything, particularly if you're pregnant and you're doing prenatal yoga, restorative would be great for you. So you have these 4 styles of yoga that you're probably going to be familiar with. There's other styles like Kundalini. Kundalini is going to rise the energy up. There's a lot of Tantra energy, Tantra yoga, the masculine and the feminine, which is a bit of a balance. We all carry both traits. When I'm with my daughter and I'm hugging her and I'm smiling with my daughter, I'm carrying a lot of my feminine energy. When I'm working on my business and I'm aggressive and I'm assertive and I'm prepping and strategizing and I'm very confident in my ability, I'm displaying my masculine traits. The Tantra is the balance of that, just like Hatha is going to balance a lot of the hot and the cold, and you'll see a lot of Tantra in Hatha yoga. Kundalini is going to take it one step further and take that energy and kind of drive it up through your chakras, through your spine. It's going to drive that energy up and channel that into whatever you're going to do. So if you're gardening, Kundalini is going to drive that energy up and channel that energy. So There's different styles of yoga that produce these results better than others. There's bhakti yoga, which is a yoga style of devotion. Whatever that devotion is. I happen to be a Christian, so I grew up Christian, and I do a lot of my devotion through my Christian faith. If you're not, though, that's fine. You can definitely do devotion to anything. It can be devotion to your family. It can be devotion to your practice. It can be devotion to some of the mythological stories that come from the yoga practice. Um, Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Not necessarily the yoga practice. That's a little bit of a misconception. It comes from some of the philosophy that has been paired with the yoga practice. Because I want to remind you, yoga predates religions, it predates Buddhism, it predates Hinduism, it predates Christianity. Yoga has been around throughout the test of time longer than all these different sort of organizations, which is not bad or good. It's just kind of giving you it's just kind of giving you some information. So in response, some of these organizations, and this isn't bad or good, it's just kind of what happened, took from some of the philosophy of yoga and placed that into some of their belief systems. Same thing has happened with different types of martial arts. So you might see aspects of yoga, the yoga upanisks, some of the philosophy in some of the ways of Buddhism. That doesn't mean that yoga is a Buddhist practice or a Hindu practice or even a Christian practice. Yoga is its own thing. In fact, when it comes to the upanisks, yoga is and has been designed for an atheist to use. So there has been a lot of monks that have ignored yoga upanisks because they haven't been required necessarily for the religion, because yoga again is designed for an atheist to use, and that has been common knowledge in the Buddha religion. Um, so I want to go forward and talk a little bit about that bhakti. When you do bhakti, it's really up to you how you devote your bhakti. And that's where I derive my bhakti different times for different things. It could be devotion to my practice. It could be devotion to my faith. It could be devotion to myself and trying to be the best I can be. It could be devotion to my posture. At the end of the day, when I'm devoting like that, I'm becoming more in tune with what my task at hand is. So I'm meditating. I'm taking all the noise and I'm canceling it out, and I'm channeling into my meditation on one specific task. Whether I'm doing a position where my arms go up and I'm breathing, my eyes are closed, I inhale and I exhale. I'm just focusing on this task. Everything is where it needs to be. That job I have, the car, the responsibilities, the kids, everything is where it needs to be right now. It can wait until I take another breath, and I'm going to inhale. I'm not worrying about anything else. I'm just going to let it wait. It'll be there when I'm done. Exhale. And I'm going to come back to you. And now I'm focused on you. And you can see where yoga has its place and can be really impactful. So that's the kind of type of atmosphere you want to create when you're doing your yoga practice. You want to kind of close everything else off and get into these meditative states while you're doing these postures, or even while you're doing your meditation, which is called Raha yoga. That's another form of yoga you can look into, the yoga of meditation. Karma yoga, the yoga of Gandhi, where you're doing yoga in a sense to bring of good karma and kind of explore good karma. You want to put good out there, and that's necessarily what you want to receive back. The idea, though, which I really am fond of and I really appreciate, the idea of doing yoga where you do let go of everything is so helpful and impactful to teach and retrain and rewire your brain to repair itself. Particularly if you've been through trauma, you can't turn your brain off, you just don't know how to shut it down. This will help you, and it's going to help you do the breath work. You're going to breathe in and breathe out. And countless studies have taught us that breath work alone can help rewire the brain, particularly when you're doing these meditative states and the breath work. They will get easier and easier. It will feel like it's harder for you. You will get distracted. That's normal. That's actually how you get better at it. That's part of the journey, getting distracted and continuing to practice. What you may not know at the time is happening is you're actively doing one of the best styles of learning, which is spaced repetition, and active recall. You're active recalling how to do these meditations, and you're doing them with spaced repetition. Is particularly when you're getting distracted, your brain has to work to get back there. And that's great. That's exactly what you want to do. And you're going to get better at it. And you're going to train your brain like a muscle to get better and better at meditating. And the aspects of meditation, what it's going to do for you is not only repair your cells, repair your body, repair you from trauma, it's going to help you process much faster, much more efficiently, safer. Um, the little arguments that you used to get into with your siblings, you're going to let those go so much more quicker. That doesn't mean you're going to just be in a state of not reality based living where you don't get upset or anything. No, you're still going to go through all the right emotions, anger, sadness, anything, joy. You're going to go through all the right emotions, but you're going to be more balanced. You're going to be more to a state of neutrality and balance when it's necessary. So when you are angry and you're level 10 angry, you're going to get through that anger much more quickly, which is safer for you in your body, because the cortisol, the stress hormone that's going to flare off when you are angry, when you are in these stressful states, is detrimental to your health. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to all have great health and get to a place where we can really thrive and feel our best selves. So that is going to be what you're going to strive for as a beginner doing beginning yoga, hopefully. Again, if you have questions, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please talk to us about some of these questions. I look forward to talking with you more about this kind of stuff, and please take care, and we will see you soon.